Game I wanted to talk about, another potential ugly game. Not that game was ugly, but Dolphins Colts. The Dolphins have looked rough since Tua went down on offense. But you get the bye week; they're coming off the bye, so I can see a situation where Mike McDaniel was in the lab. He knows what he's going to get from Gus Bradley, and they look a lot better with Tyler Huntley behind center. That's not the angle I want to talk about. I think in this game you see kind of the Colts ride these explosive plays from Anthony Richardson in his first game back to a comfortable win, right? So I think I like Colts -3. And really the angle is the Dolphins are third in terms of explosive pass rate allowed this year. And with Anthony Richardson at quarterback, that's all he wants to do, right? He doesn't want to drive fast. He wants to throw the ball far. And you've seen that in terms of average depth of target, 13 yards, significantly higher than any other offense in the NFL this year. And this is a situation against the Dolphins defense that has given up big plays. Their pass defense hasn't been great. I think it's a spot where we could see some big Anthony Richardson to Alec Pierce connections, and I like the Colts in this spot in his first game back.
Interesting. I think I kind of like the Dolphin side of things, just for the same reason that you see the upside in the Colts. I think you can also make the downside case of like if the deep shots are not connecting, and like it kind of leads to a bunch of plays against just a bunch of like long passing plays. And I think the Dolphins can get on track with how bad the Colts secondary has been, and especially with how bad their ability to generate pressure has been, which has been dead last over the last bunch of weeks. And maybe the Panthers have been a little bit worse, but it's been atrocious. And I think when you think about the Dolphins offense, we should remember a couple of things. Number one, like Tyler Huntley, no, I don't think he's a particularly great quarterback, but like he did jump in like basically off the street. He did not have time in the offense. Off the bye, I think that accelerates the kind of patterns. And I think there's also this idea of like Tyler Huntley as a scrambler. He scrambled at a well below league average rate. And the times he did scramble was like playing in like real catch up against Tennessee. His scramble rates are actually very low. It's interesting from a proc perspective, and I think kind of leads to some ability to bet his passing overs. But you also think about the Dolphins; they have not gotten the explosive plays going, and I think that as Huntley gets more comfortable in the scheme, kind of to your point about like Mike McDaniel cooking stuff up, I think they're going to have much more time to throw against this Colts pass rush. And I think that the Colts are very vulnerable in the secondary, especially in their kind of holes in the zone. They play a ton of cover three, the Gus Bradley way. And you can see some explosives there when the coverage breaks down a bit with Waddle and Hill. And we haven't seen it yet, but I think that's like very much a function of like really unstable quarterback play, which I think is going to get a little bit better. And I think if there were ever a situation for the Dolphins pass offense to get going, I think it's this spot. Or at least get going in the sense of get going for how much better I think they can play relative to market expectation. I think it's an interesting buy low spot, especially when you consider that they can really have a lot of play volume on their side, given that they're a good run defense. And if Richardson's not hitting on these deep throws, you can see a lot of these quick 3-and-outs.
Yeah, I was trying to poke holes in it because I had the same thought. Like, cover three, these Shanahan offenses want cover three. They dominate against cover three. The case with the Dolphins this year, it hasn't been great. They're the second lowest EPA per play against cover three, ahead of only the Browns. So is that a function of the quarterback injuries? They're not able to get the run game going, all of this stuff, and it turns around, like you said? Or is this just how it's going to be until they get Tua back? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of taking the opposite swing in that I think this is a buy low spot for Anthony Richardson too. I haven't seen the lines, but the last couple games before his injury, he was bad. he made a couple throws in that Week 1 Houston game, but he hadn't been connecting on those deep shots. And I think this is a spot where he can against the Dolphins team that has shown that they're capable of giving up explosive plays. But it's interesting that we're kind of on the same angle, just on opposite sides of the coin.
Yeah, and I think it kind of works that way and points to the nature of what this game is. Of just like, I think it's highly variant. And like, it's totally reasonable to say, like, why is anything going to change with Tyler Huntley? Like, this is just who the Dolphins are without Tua. I think that's totally like legitimate way this game plays out. I also think you can make the case that off the bye, give him a lot more time in the system, things can change. Or even just like, you want to bet on talented players. Like, you get a couple of passes to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, 15-yard in-breaking routes, right, hole in the zone that they at any point can take 50, 60 yards. And when you look at Tyler Huntley's props and it's sitting in the 180s, that means something very different than when it's 250.
Yeah, for sure. Alec Pierce also capable of taking it past 60 yards to the house. That's what we've seen multiple times this year.
Alec Pierce is just going to get a home run ball, and he's going to catch it one-handed behind his back as he's being pulled down, a little OBJ style.
And I'm going to be celebrating when that happens.
We'll get you on an Alec Pierce jersey next week.
Yeah, if he goes for 203 touchdowns, I'll buy an Alex Pierce jersey.
Perfect.
Next game that just to recap real quick before we move on. So I'm on Colts -3. I like Anthony Richardson overs, Alec Pierce overs. That's kind of the angle I'm betting. It sounds like you're going to be on the opposite side a little bit.
Yeah, I don't hate your angle for what it's worth. I think you can kind of play both sides here, especially as you push more towards the alts. But I do like the Miami alts here.
Way to sit on the fence, Judah. That was strong fence sitting right there.
Yeah, that's what I do.